Hello, Sonder fam. Welcome to our Tuesday evening Sonder Social. My name is Bailey Grady, and I will be your facilitator this evening. I am really excited because it's a journal prompt social, and these are always some of my favorite socials. If you haven't already, do please set your chat to everyone. If this is your first social or your first journal prompt social, welcome. You do not have to worry about whether or not your camera is on or off, whether or not you're muted. I'll be the only one on screen today. But that does mean that the way that you communicate tonight is through the chat. And in order to do that, you're going to want to make sure you have that chat set to everyone so that everyone can see what you have to share. And for those of you that are returning socialers, welcome. I already see lots of familiar names in the chat. So welcome, welcome. So good to have you all here. As we go through tonight, feel free to take pictures, grab screenshots. We would love to see photos of your pages if you feel comfortable sharing after the social, either on the app or you can always tag us on the socials, whatever works best for you. I'm dialing in from Hendersonville, Tennessee, which is just north of Nashville, and we had our coolest day so far. Going into the fall season this year. So I got to wear like a fun, comfy sweater, which made me really happy. And I'm super looking forward to this social because not only is it a journal prompt social, but we have like a really fun activity. And then we have kind of like a pretty deep set of journal prompts to get into together this evening. And then we'll close out with something that's a little bit more lighthearted again. But this is such a great place to dig in and do these prompts because you get to kind of do it with other people, even though it's just you and your journal still. You have the option to kind of engage with the greater group. And sometimes when we are digging into those like more tough prompts, it can be really nice to kind of have your community there with you. So this is going to be a great place to dig in and do that tonight. So real quick before we get started, we're going to go over our community guidelines. Please be kind and courteous to yourself and others. No promotions or spam, please. Respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. Limit repetitive product and accessory questions if you can. We don't mind some chatter here and there, but our time is always so short, so we always want to try to get through to the content at hand. And then anything that myself and the amazing Malika, who is here as my stage manager tonight, she's going to hop on and give you a wave. There she is. Hi. Anything that she or I cannot answer for you, we will direct over to hello@silkandsonder.com. That is going to be the team over at headquarters, and they will be able to take care of anything that we cannot take care of for you. And then finally, Sonder Socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community, but you are responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. Now, like I said, some of our activities tonight may have you getting a little deep. You may end up getting into what I like to call the crunchy feelings. A little bit of crunch can be good, right? It adds some variety and some spice to a dish, and we kind of like that feel in our mouth sometimes. But also sometimes crunchy can be like stepping on a Lego with your bare foot. So if it starts to feel more like a Lego to the foot, and you start to peel back a layer into something that you're not quite ready to peel back tonight, just stop, take a breath. You do not have to conquer this right now. You can always come back to this prompt later. You can hang out, support each other in the chat, listen to the music, and then we'll move on to a different prompt before you know it. Excuse me. Cooler temperatures is getting me a little throat cleary as well. But it's always participate at your own comfort. That's the biggest takeaway. Participate in the chat, don't participate in the chat, focus on your journal, focus on whatever time you need this to be for you. That's what we want it to be. And if you need support, let us know. We're here to cheer each other on and to share and really just be open and honest with one another, because most of the time we're all dealing with the same kind of crunchy feelings. And if we're not, it's because we've dealt with them before. So it's pretty rare that somebody's going through something in here that no one else can relate to. We have just the absolutely most amazing community here, and you are definitely in good hands. So we are going to do our opening activity, and then we're going to do the journal prompts on page 16. And then we'll flip back to page 15 to wrap up with emerging opportunities. Excuse me. So As I hope you all know by now, our theme for this month is opportunity. And that's really what we have here tonight. We have an opportunity to really spend time with ourselves, ask ourselves some questions, and look at things in a different way than maybe we do on a normal day to day part of our life without engaging with things like our journal. Every time you open your journal pages, it really is an opportunity to spend time with you and learn about you, whether you're filling out your trackers in the front of the pages, right? And getting that it's that self data collection, that check in of like, how is this going? Is this working for me? Am I doing this habit because I need to, or am I doing it because I think I should? Is it something I actually want to focus on? So whether you're working on things like that, or you're doing what we're doing tonight and you're digging into those journal prompts and getting deep and getting to know yourself a little bit better, your journal is full of opportunities. So this is really the perfect theme for us, really year round. But I love that it's here in October as the seasons begin to really lean into fall. And also, October opportunity. I love a good alliteration. So without further ado, we are going to get into our opening activity. Now, this is not going to be in your journal. It's going to be something that you're going to want to flip to on a blank page or space. So this is something you will create on your own. And what we're going to look at is looking at opportunity as a gift. I almost said October as a gift, but you could do that too. And what we're going to do is first think about opportunity as an unexpected gift. And what that looks like is, have there ever been any challenges or setbacks that turned out to be opportunities in disguise? So thinking about things that at first glance probably felt like an oh no moment, but in hindsight, maybe you realize that oh no moment turned into something completely different. And then how did you recognize these opportunities? And then the second half of this is that we're then going to ask, how did you approach these challenges or setbacks? What actions did you take to turn them into a positive experiences? Now we've got these cute little present boxes and things here, but there is technically no required drawing element. I mean, really nothing we do here is ever really required. We always want you to put your own spin on it and make it work for you. But this prompt specifically does not say anything about drawing. I just was kind of inspired by the little present, so I decided to draw one. Excuse me. So at the top, on the little tag for the present, I wrote down a couple of different setbacks and things, or things that felt like setbacks at the time, that ended up turning into opportunities. Going back to therapy. At the time that I went back to therapy, it did not feel like a move that was something I needed. It felt like something I had to do, and it felt like defeat at the time. It does not feel that way anymore, but it did at the time. In 2010, we had a huge flood in Nashville, and I lost my job, and my partner lost his job overnight. COVID 2020, I think all of us probably encountered some sort of hardship during that time, even if it was just a change in our routines. And then once upon a time, back when my now husband and I were living together for the first time, we lived with a roommate, and he just disappeared. He just completely ghosted us. He was alive and well. We could see him doing things on social media. He just wasn't coming home, wasn't paying rent, and wasn't responding to us. Which when you're young and broke is stressful. um, so I said, I honestly did not recognize these as opportunities as they were happening, because I did not. In the moment, I was really just trying to do the next right thing to survive. And hindsight really revealed these as opportunities to me. Returning to therapy in 2019 and again in 2021 felt like I had lost some battle, but in the end, what helped me win the war, it was what helped me win the war by doing the work and digging into the root issues. I never gave up. 2010 flood in Nashville left me jobless overnight. I was so nervous about what would happen next that I didn't hesitate to say yes to a less than ideal job, with an awful commute. But that job led me to another and another, which likely played a huge part in my career and where I am now. And I took the best option until I had a better one. COVID 2020, with the whole world turned upside down and everything feeling like fear and chaos, I used my time at home to focus in on me, my habits, my mental health, my home life, and physical health. I signed up for Silk and Sonder and focused on what I could control. And then when our roommate ghosted us, we learned how to budget, got promoted, took extra shifts, and ended up buying our first home. We never would have thought it was possible if he hadn't forced us to kind of do those things. We partnered together to pivot and grow. So I will hop between this page with these encouraging little quotes here, and then the prompt here. But definitely let us know what's coming up for you in the chat if you feel comfortable. And it's okay if something doesn't come to you right away. But just remember, opportunity, sometimes we think of it as being this like big thing. But if we refer back to our definition of opportunity on page 3, it's just a set of circumstances that makes it possible to do something. So it could even be that a setback led to a change, and maybe that change wasn't the best thing initially, but without that change, it wouldn't have led to another. And would you really be where you are right now, right? So sometimes it's not this that immediately led to that. Sometimes it's a little bit more of a journey, right? Very few of us have super straight paths in life. So I'll put on some music for you, share in the chat if you feel comfortable, and then we'll get into our next activity. Okay, thank you all for taking some time to think about this opening activity. I know a lot of you said, oh, nothing's coming up for me. Like, I'm just going to hang out in the chat for a while. Totally fine. You can grab a quick picture of this and always come back to it later when you have time, or just skip it if it's not speaking to you. A lot of the time, we are like cramming these activities into this hour together, right? So we can kind of spend time in community. But there are some activities that we only have, maybe 10 minutes for that sometimes take me quite a bit longer. So it's totally fine if you need a little bit of extra time or want to come back to this one at a later time. But I want to make sure that we have plenty of time to go through these journal prompts with each other. So we're going to go ahead and turn to page 16. And again, before we get started, I just want to remind you all this is a safe space. These prompts, some of them are, at least for me, they came across kind of like heavy. It brought up some like tough stuff. So if that's you too, just know that you're not here alone. We're going to kind of go through this together. All of you are amazing. You're all valuable. You're enough and you are loved. Each one of these, we're going to take kind of two at a time so that we can kind of like write, discuss, write, discuss. So go ahead and flip to page 16. And we're going to start with the first few questions here. So the top of this page is called Unblocking Self-Limiting Beliefs. Oftentimes, our own self-limiting beliefs hold us back from the greatest opportunities. Pick a limiting belief that might be holding you back and reframe it to bring you closer towards a deserving opportunity. Now, Malik and I were talking before the social, and both of us admitted that we have more than one self-limiting belief. Unfortunately, there's definitely more than one. And so the space here is kind of small. So what I did is I actually wrote on sticky notes for mine at first because I wasn't entirely sure which one I wanted to write about. And then after I wrote it all down on the sticky notes, I was like, yeah, this actually feels right. This is what I want to write down. And so then it made it a little bit easier to like transfer it into the little boxes. So that's how I tackled mine. So if that sounds good to you, feel free to do that as well. Or you can always just find another page within the journal that you can write out a little bit more and kind of elaborate here. Or you can do this like for one self-limiting belief and then come back to it later and do it for another one, because in the end, it does it becomes kind of a powerful experience, I think. So our first question here is a self-limiting belief that I have about myself or my abilities is. So mine that I chose to write about is that I might not be able to handle new experiences because of my anxiety, and then it will cause me to miss out on dreams and opportunities. For those of you who don't know, um, I have anxiety. It's something I live with every day. It's generalized anxiety. And to explain a little bit further, our very next question is, when did this self-limiting belief originate? So I've probably always had anxiety and been an anxious person. I know that now, but it really spiraled in 2019 for me. And it was to a point where it was impacting my daily life. I would have like panic attacks just going into restaurants, even ones that I had been at many times before. My body was physically making me feel like ill or nauseous, and I used to have a phobia about getting sick. So it just kind of all like played on itself. So there was a large period of time there for a couple years where it felt like I couldn't do anything because I never knew if I was actually going to be in a safe space. We had to leave friends get-togethers early. I had to there was more than once where we sat down for a meal. We ordered, and within 10 minutes I was like, I have to go. And that was really tough to be in those moments. So unfortunately, those situations, even though I'm in a much better place with my anxiety now, has sort of created this self-limiting belief that I might not be able to handle new things, or there's that constant fear in my head of oh my gosh, what if I start to get anxious and what if this happens, and et cetera, et cetera. So that is my self-limiting belief, and that is sort of where it originated. And we've got some good little encouraging things on the screen here too. Vulnerability is not a weakness. It's our most accurate measure of courage. So as you get deep here, if you feel comfortable sharing, I definitely encourage you to do so. And just a reminder, you were born to be real, not to be perfect. And our emotions are meant to be felt, even the hard ones, and it's okay to feel what you need to feel. So I will put on some music for you. If you feel comfortable sharing, again, you are in good hands here in our community, but it's also okay if you want to keep this to yourself too. And then we'll move into our next prompt. Thank you for those of you who felt comfortable sharing. I'll be honest, I'm like tearing up a little bit here. I'm gonna try to not get emotional as we go through this, not because emotions are bad, but because when I cry, I have a tendency to not be able to talk very well. But just know that you're not alone. Um, you're all valued, you are loved, you are worthy. And despite those self limiting beliefs, which we're going to try to work through a little bit here, um, you are all just incredibly amazing, beautiful souls. And I'm so thankful that you're all here with us tonight. So we're going to move to the middle part of the page here and unpack this a little bit further. So, what are three lies that this self limiting belief often says to you? For me, it's you'll never be able to travel internationally like you want to. You'll never be able to show up as a parent the way you want to. You will keep other people you love from doing things they want because you will hold them back. And then, how has this belief affected your willingness to pursue adventures or take advantage of budding opportunities? For me, I avoid booking trips to new places sometimes. I avoid travel plans with friends because I fear that I'll ruin their time. And I haven't felt ready to be a mom yet, mostly because I worry about my ability to be present when I need to be and to be a mom when, what if I'm having a terrible anxiety day and it just feels like a lot. So, got some more little love notes there for you on the screen. You're stronger than you think. Sometimes the hardest part of the journey is believing you're worth the trip. We are stardust, we are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. And then these two super cute little ghosty friends. Here is a friendly reminder that the negative voice in your head is not you, and you are amazing and strong and wonderful. And even though you may not feel it, please believe it because it's absolutely true. You were important yesterday, you are important today, and you will be important tomorrow too. So if you feel comfortable sharing in the chat, please continue to do so and know that we are all holding space for each other here in this moment as we work through some of these tough prompts, and that the positive spin is coming at the end here. Whew. Take a breath. You all are doing some incredible work. You are doing some incredibly courageous, brave, just amazing sharing. Sorry, guys. I told you I was gonna try. Um, but truly, like, what you're doing right now is so amazing, and I think what's hard is knowing that incredible people like you have had to feel these things, um, because none of you deserve to feel that way. All of you are absolutely amazing. And so, with that said, we're gonna move over to the next set of prompts here because this is the part that makes this good and that makes this powerful. And I know Rev said she was crying too, so I'm not alone. We are here in solidarity together. So the last stage of these prompts here is what three affirmations are there that will help reframe this self-limiting belief, right? So we have peeled back the layer, we have found the little angry monster, whatever it looks like. Oftentimes my little angry monster is like myself around the time I was probably like 11, I think, kind of that like in betweeny stage between like kid and teenager. And woo, she was angry. She was angry. She was feisty. She had such high expectations. But she really just needed a hug, right? And I think a lot of the times that's what it comes down to is we have these negative self-belief or negative self-talk, and it's really coming from an area um, of like a missed experience of some sort, right? So now we get to try to combat that and try to provide some support to that. So, what are three affirmations that will help reframe this self limiting belief? So, for me, I am enough, right? Exactly as I am. I am enough. No matter what I try to tell myself, I am enough. That's it. That's the sentence. Progress over perfection. That's one of our favorite sayings here at Silk and Sonder. And I saw a lot of you mention perfection as kind of being that little voice or that little monster that likes to nag at you. So progress over perfection, always. And then for me, there is no right or wrong way for everything, right? Like there is not a right way for me to travel internationally. If that looks like having to skip some things, needing more rest days, maybe doing a shorter trip somewhere and then going back for a longer trip later. Like, yes, it might be harder, maybe it will cost more in the long run, but there's no right way to do that, right? I think sometimes I feel like I can't do the thing because I'm not going to do it right, but there's not a right and wrong way for everything. And then what is one opportunity you will make possible by debunking this belief that was holding you back? So if you can debunk this belief, what opportunity could become possible for you? And what is one action step you can take this week to inch towards that opportunity? So for me, I could potentially finally travel internationally, like for realsies, not just like getting off at a cruise ship. Not that that doesn't count, but because it totally does. But like I could maybe actually like get on a plane and fly somewhere or go to Canada or something. And one step I can take towards that this week is to try to visit a new restaurant or a new place here in town because I know that like brand new places and experiences can be like a trigger for me. And it's part of what makes me worry, right? When I think about traveling internationally, because everything is brand new and I don't know how it all works and it's all different. So if I can take those small steps here of experiencing new and different things and realizing like, oh, I can do this and like it's okay and not every time is going to turn into this experience that I had before, then that can kind of help me to combat these thoughts that I have. So I'm going to put on some music for you to think about these thoughts. Oh, one more thing before I forget. I was going to forget the best slide. I have all these fun affirmations here to share with you. If any of them speak to you, feel free to jot them down. The affirmation pumpkin patch is one we had like maybe 2 years ago, I think, for October. So I thought it was kind of perfect that we had this prompt here also in October. So I brought that back. So I'll flip between these slides for you. But if you feel comfortable, please continue to share. You never know what you write may be the exact perfect thing that somebody else needs to hear too. Thank you all so much for sharing your affirmations. Please continue to share while I move into our next activity because these are all incredible. And I just want to say thank you all for going through all these prompts and sharing and getting to the end of this page because this was probably one of the tougher pages I've seen in a while in terms of like really peeling back layers, or I think Stephanie said like unearthing things. And that is such hard work, really. So amazing job to all of you. I'm so incredibly proud of you, and I feel so thankful to be here with all of you. So we're gonna flip on over to page 15, and I know that this was a daily ritual a couple weeks ago, so if you did that, that is okay. We're still happy that you're here and everything. But on this page, we are supposed to list emerging opportunities that exist in your life today. What doors might they open up if you were to pursue them? Now, again, I'm going to go back to our definition on page 3 here. Opportunity is a set of circumstances that makes it possible to do something. That's it. It doesn't mean that you think you should do the thing. Maybe there's an opportunity and you're like, yeah, that's an opportunity. It's a cruddy one. But there's still an opportunity there, right? So what I did is I just tried to think about all the potential opportunities that I have and these were the things that kind of came up in my brain. A lot of them are things that I'm really not interested in doing for various reasons, but they are there. They are options. They are possibilities. And it was kind of nice to just list them out because somehow, even if you know that it's not an option you want to take, seeing that it's there, I don't know, feels roomier. So that's what I did. And then I wrote a pro and con for each one and then wrote out what it could possibly lead to if I were to open that door. And then I've got two examples here from Sonder Club from folks that kind of shared early on in the ritual. And I'll cycle through all of these slides while you work on your doors. And then Brandy had shared their example in Sonder Club, and they had said that they wanted to focus kind of on their career. So that was another lens that I thought you could take this in, is you could try to focus on opportunities in specific areas. So here's some ideas on that. And then I know some people had shared that they felt kind of stuck in this activity, and maybe this is kind of similar to what we started with in the beginning too. Like maybe it's tough and maybe something's not coming to you right away, or maybe you feel like there's not a ton of opportunity in life right now. And so the suggestion Mayha actually offered up is that you could try putting challenges on the doors. Totally normal to feel stuck and like there's no path forward. But then maybe over the month, you can see if you can find any silver lining or possible learnings from those challenges. So if you struggled to think of things in the beginning and it's still kind of happening now, you could always kind of take that angle for it as well. So I'll cycle through all of these slides for you. But let us know what is on your door, how you're deciding to kind of look at this, from what angle you have, and then we'll wrap up our time together. Well, as always, it's hard to believe, but our time together has come to an end. Thank you all so, so much for being here tonight. I always love spending this time with you, but especially getting to really dig deep in these prompts tonight and look at some things that, again, are tough and getting to do it together is just it's so beautiful. So thank you all so much for choosing to spend your evening with us together in this community. If you feel comfortable sharing your pages, we would love to see them on Sonder Club. I know that you have done some incredible work kind of peeling things back tonight. So if you feel comfortable sharing, we would love to see them in more detail and give you that encouragement there on the app. As always, we still have our Refer a Friend program going on. If you refer someone to Silk and Sonder, you get $10 off, they get $10 off, and then you can come do these socials together. If you're not already an annual subscriber, something to consider. It can save you a bit of cash. Please fill out the survey either right now with the links Malika will throw in the chat or the QR code, or in your email that you'll get tomorrow. And then Malika will also share the YouTube link in the chat as well, where this recording will be up in a few days. So you all will get to watch me cry on camera forever and ever. So anytime you need somebody to cry with you, you'll be able to go back and watch this social, and I will be there for you. I will share this playlist here in the chat for anybody who wants or needs it. And as always, it was my extreme pleasure to spend this time here with all of you tonight. Sending so much love to each and every one of you because, man, your courage is just incredible. So until next time, be good to each other, and we'll see you all in Thunder Club.
Doesn't this guitar sound so good? So sweet. Living in this big blue world with my head up in outer space. I know I'll be A-okay. I know I'll be A-okay. When I see trouble come my way, I'll be making lemonade. I know I'll be A-okay. I know I'll be A-okay. Hey little lady, I know you're feeling crazy. All your other friends are busy making them babies.